And we've reached the part of the podcast where we're going to talk about NASCAR. And who better to come on than the man, the myth, the legend, Brandon, a.k.a. at Boston Boy 83. Brandon, how you doing today, my man?
Dude, ready to hit one this week. I know we got that Busher top 10 a couple weeks ago, but we got to grab a winner and get on that streak. Once we get one, we usually get 2 or 3 in a row. So, Dirt, Bristol, what do you say?
You know what? We did in the first race last was it 2 years ago, we hit Logano at this track. So hopefully, we can get back to it. We need to get a race winner. I have 4 bets. You have 4 bets. I have 2 top 10s, 2 winners. I believe you have 4 winners. So let's hop right into it. I'll let you kick it off. Who's your first one, my friend?
My first one is going to be the guy that should have won the race last year, got wrecked on the last lap. I'm going with Tyler Reddick himself at 6-1. The man's good at the wall. He's good on dirt. He proved it last year until he got attempted to have a slide job done to him. Taken out. Tyler Reddick himself, 6-1. The man's going to be up front all night.
My first one, and I love yours. My first one, I am going Denny Hamlin top 10 plus 150.
Ooh.
In the first Bristol race, he was 3rd. Last year finished 35th, but had a little bit of an incident that hence the bad finish. Led 91 laps in the first dirt race. Looked better at Richmond. Led some laps, won a stage, but it has been to a slow start, but he looked better at Richmond. I think he's due for some positive regression here. So I locked in Denny Hamlin top 10 plus 115.
I like it. And that man, just on a quick side note, is dying to get a win and shove it in NASCAR's face because I won't get into all the details. You can read about it. He tried to do an appeal. The appeal didn't work how he wanted it. 10 minutes after the appeal meeting with NASCAR, NASCAR came out with these new rules and immediately on Twitter about the appeals. And immediately on Twitter, Denny put, "This just came out. What the fuck?" That was his. He's not happy with NASCAR. He dumped JJ Yeley last week at Richmond for no reason at all. Denny is a head case right now. But Denny loves to stick it to people more than anybody, so expect him to be up front. So I like it. Second pick, I'm going with the man that dumped Tyler Reddick for the win and didn't win, Mr. Chase Briscoe at 8-1. Another dirt guy, another guy that can – I'm going all dirt if you guys can't tell. So Chase Briscoe, running second, did a slide job on the last lap, had an opportunity to win. So can't take away from an 8-1.
My next one, dirt racer, Todd Gilliland. Did I say right? Gilliland?
Yeah, Gilliland.
Top 10 plus 325. This is based on his track results racing on trucks. 4th place in the 2021 truck race here at the Knoxville race in 2022. Won the race, led the second most laps. Dirt racer in the truck with success. Top 10 plus 325. I think that's a pretty good price. Plus, I don't know how you have this race playing out. For some reason, I'm seeing Havoc and Rex and a plus 325 on a top 10. I'll take it.
Agreed. You stay out of trouble here and your car can still function. You're going to have an opportunity at the end for a top 10. I mean, that's the way dirt is. It's very hard to pass on dirt. They're going to get rain. They're getting rain all day today. So for both the trucks and the cup cars, there are no practice at all. They're going straight into the heat races. So mind you guys, there is no qualifying for this. It is heat races to determine your starting position. You can also bet on the heat races. So if you want to do live betting, that's tomorrow night. But they're expecting more rain tomorrow. So I have a strange feeling that we could roll into Sunday with no qualifying, no practice, no anything. That's why I'm leaning on the dirt guys, because every dirt race is different. It's not like an asphalt track to where rubber gets built up. The line changes, the groove changes. It's going to be, to your point, a crap show. But I think me and you both, you have another winner, right?
I have 2 more winners.
You have Christopher Bell, right?
Yes, I have Christopher Bell. Why don't you make your statement for Christopher Bell? I'll make my statement for Christopher Bell.
Dirt guy. Whenever he's not running the cup car, he's on dirt. Whether it's midgets, late models, anything. Same with Larson, which I know Larson to everybody's going to be the go-to pick at 5-1. Like Larson, absolute dirt guy. I'm not doing a 5-1 bet. I'm not. But I like Christopher Bell, consistently good on dirt, and I think he's 7-1. Yeah, 7-1. Christopher Bell. I know you're going to throw some stats out here because you're the stat guy.
I just look at it like this: last year, started 2nd, finished 7th. And the thing, along with all the dirt stuff that you stuck out, the thing that started to me in the 7 races to start the season, he's finished 5. He has 5 of 7 top 5 finishes. So he's like consistently toward the front of the pack. He mixed in a couple 13s, but he's consistently running well. And a driver like that is someone that I want to bet. I found him at plus 650. You obviously got a better price than me. So we both have Christopher Bell. Brandon has him at plus 700. I have him at plus 650.
You hit your next bet because I want to end with the one that we talked about.
My next one is I took Ryan Blaney at 18-1. I know he struggled to start the season, but there's been 2 dirt races at Bristol. He's had 2 top 10 finishes. And, if you just look at his last 6 races, I know this is on dirt, but this is still a short track. So if you look at his last 6 races on the short track, 5 top 5s, 8, you look at, 8 top 10s, you're looking at the last 8, excuse me. So the last 8, and then last 10 Bristol races, he has 6 top 10s.
Yeah.
So he's been doing well on short tracks, doing well at Bristol, and he did well here the last 2 races. Obviously, he's one of the most talented drivers on the circuit. I'm seeing 18-1. I think he's kind of getting lost in the mix, so I'll take him at 18-1.
Yeah, I like it. We're going to jump over to a guy that most of you probably have never heard of. I watched him locally here for years, growing up in high school. Jonathan Davenport runs the World of Outlaws and multiple dirt series throughout the U.S. All he does is drive dirt. 50-1 odds. He has to qualify in. So in his heat race, he has to do well even to get into the race. He doesn't have a provisional, any of that. If he makes the race, 50-1 for a guy that consistently runs dirt and only dirt all year round. I don't know how he's going to adapt to the cup car. If there is no practice, I don't know if that's going to hurt him. But at 50-1 for a man that I've watched dominate the dirt series, run door-to-door with Larson on dirt, with Bell, with all these guys, I can't steer away from Jonathan Davenport at 50-1 odds to win the race. And then I think you might piggyback, but he's also plus 250 for a top 10. And he's a dirt guy.
I like that. And I'll probably play the plus. I'll play Davenport top 10 plus 250 after hearing what you had to say. And we got to have the same thought process. There's certain times where we see like a road racer, like an AJ, Allmendinger, where we bet him because of the history he has on these road races. It's the same thing here with Davenport. With Davenport's history on dirt tracks, we have to play him in this situation. So that's why we are playing Davenport. Brandon's taking him at 50-1 to win it. I'm taking him at plus 250 for a top 10. Brandon, I'd like to thank you for coming on and talking some NASCAR. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media, my friend?
Boston Boy 83, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter. That's all we got. We got to grab a money bag this week.
Now, couple quick questions for you being a Celtic fan. Just a couple basketball questions for you. Let's start out with the teams in the play-in. Between the Heat, Hawks, Raptors, and Bulls. Team you'd want the Celtics, because they are the 2 seed, to play the most. Team you would want them to play the least.
So most Atlanta, Chicago, least Miami, Toronto.
Okay. And then would you rather be matched up with the 76ers or the Bucks in the second round?
The Sixers all day, dude. The Bucks. It's funny because I wanted to text you the other day when we won 140-99.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a big win, but it's not because there wasn't a whole. Yeah, you're kind of playing for a seed, but you're not. The Bucks have had our number year after year after year. We got through it last year, lost in the finals. I don't want to see the Bucks. I don't. To your point, I don't think we have a big man. I love Williams, but I don't think we have a guy that can sit there and stop the Greek Freak all day. And then Middleton just does his thing against us every time we play. The Sixers, we've owned them for years. They don't scare me. They don't bother me. They're really, really good, but for whatever reason, we've owned them for
their two best players are out of shape.
Yes, good. There it is.
That's basically it. The two best players are out of shape. One more quick thing. Jesus Christ, dude. Bruins, 127 points. Have that President's Cup locked up to. This is one of the things because hockey's completely different than most sports. I just, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm nervous.
Are you, like, you know what I mean? Like, how nervous are you about the Bruins?
Very nervous. So one, if you look at like the last 10 years, the President's Cup team does not win the cup. You look back 2 years ago, Tampa dominated, did basically what we're doing this year, dominated, and then got knocked out in the first round against the wild card Columbus Blue Jackets. I'm not worried about the first round, but once you get out of the first round, you're either playing Toronto or Tampa. Yeah. You get out of that round, you're either playing Jersey, New York Rangers, or the Carolina Hurricanes. Like, I will call it as it is right now. The Stanley Cup will end in the East. Whatever team it may be, it will be in the East. But I think the battle to get to the Cup in the East is the hardest that I've ever seen since I can remember. Even though we're dominating, which when we signed a lock 2 years ago, I was like, effing backup. Like, what are we doing with this guy? And then all of a sudden, he stood on his head all year. But his win percentage in the playoffs is only like .498. So he has a terrible, terrible playoff record, which who knows? It could have been a bunch of wild card teams, whatever. But I also, it sounds homerish, I don't see a team right now that can actually beat us in a 7-game series. Like, we're sitting players. We're sitting Bergeron, Marchand, Lindholm in a game, beating Carolina. Then we're sitting we're playing Swayman, our backup goalie, and sitting McAvoy and DeBrusque, and we're winning. So I don't know what it is. It's weird. I'm enjoying it. But I will tell you this right now as a fan. If we don't win the Stanley Cup this year, it's all for nothing. All for nothing. I don't care about the record. I don't care about the President's Trophy. If you don't win the Cup having this good of a year, it's like the Pats going 16-0 and losing to the Giants in the Super Bowl.
Do you feel, though, that you not having to play – because my thing about the Bucks is this, and I'll ask you about the Bruins. I was looking at the Bucks schedule, and I made this statement like back in January or February, whenever Giannis went down with that injury. I go, dude, like, they're not playing a meaningful basketball game until May. Maybe that, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Do you feel like the Bruins not playing a meaningful game for such an extended period of time is going to A, hurt them, or B, you know what? They not really matter?
I would say yes. Like, normally my answer would be yes. But what I saw last night against Toronto, a good clean hit by Toronto, that was a hard hit, immediate fight. Tied the game in the third, won it in overtime. Boys were going crazy. It was physical. like seeing that in a meaningless game tells me that these guys are focused.
Yeah.
If we were dropping the last 3 out of 4, 5 out of 7 over the last month, and they just looked lackadaisical, then yes, I'd be concerned. But after what I saw last night against Toronto in a game that doesn't mean anything for either team, I think the boys are ready. But I think we're going to have to close out the first round early, get a little bit of rest, and be ready for Tampa or Toronto in round 2.
Makes sense. Yeah. Brando, thanks for coming on, my friend. And, let's cash some tickets. Let's make some money. And we'll talk next week, my friend.
Dirt this week, folks. Let's go. Cash them.